Yesterday we are discussing about the structure of our thesis. What type of structure there will be thesis, and we had discussed that every university has its own guidelines related with the structure of the thesis. Today we are going to discuss the writing guidelines. How we have to avoid some of the things when you are going to we are going to write uh, your research proposal or thesis, how you have to avoid some of the things. There are some minor things which are not aware to research scholars, but anyone can go through it. So whenever there is a researcher or a writer or an author, he should not write down that I am. He should not address himself. Either he should address that we. So it is supposed that when you are writing a research paper or when you are writing a thesis or the dissertation, you should not use that I have consulted the library, I have consulted with the supervisor. Generally, it is supposed that in thesis, in plural number, we, because author, a research scholar is not writing himself, but he is with the consultation of the research materials as well as with the suggestions of the supervisor, he is going to put sentences in the research paper or the thesis. We have already discussed in the beginning class that there will be no any abrupt statement in your thesis or the research paper. Whatever you are writing, it must be cited by references, whether from the primary sources or from the secondary sources. There are some ethical issues that you must give reference to all the authors, and from where you are citing the sentences, you must give. So that how much you are honest in writing, as much as you are giving the references, it means that you have consulted so many works or the research works related with your research topic. Then avoid the use. Write that whatever I am writing, it is the best one. So do not use. You can write down that it may be good research work. In that way, you do not write any superlative words in your writing. Then use a mix of active and passive sentences. Active sentences and passive sentences you can use not in a question mark. Generally, the questions, whatever you are having, you can change into active and the passive form of the sentences. Be exact. Do not write more than 10 to 15 words. It is the standard word in a sentence. Those who are having very good English, they use very bombarding words also. They can give the sentences in 4 or 5 lines also. Sometimes it gives confusion to the reader as well as examiners to the examiners also. So the sentences must be in lucid manner. It must be in a simple so that any reader can understand what you are going to say. So be specific, be exact also, be pinpointed also, and do not use like words like etc. It is not supposed by a research scholar that there are suppose 5, 7 persons, and then you are writing only Anant, Anyat, Kondaiya, and etc. There are five monks who had heard the first teachings of the Buddha. So generally, it is supposed that you write all the names and do not put the name of etc. like that, and you do not put nearly. This word does not suit in research works. So sentences must be, we have seen that it must be more than 10 to 15 words. Try to be very short sentences. Use and only occasionally. So generally, this sign means and. Generally, persons Ram and Syam, and then generally put like this sign. So this sign is not meant for the research scholars. We have to put A and D. It means that you are clear in your expression or ideas also. So there are others related with the methodology. Describe the methodology and field work in the past tense. So whenever you are writing about the research methodology, whether it is analytical or qualitative method or quantitative method or sampling method or questionnaire method, it must be given in your past form, and it you are or writing or making explanation or analysis of any work, then you have to use in the present tense. That use the present tense for describing your analysis and conclusions. In the conclusion part also, whether it is in the research chapter also or in the last part of your thesis, the sentences must be in present tense, not in past tense. Do not use slang or jargon form of expressions unless justified. So do not use the very, you can say, bombarding words or the slang words like that. You try to avoid it. Do not present the same information in the text, table, and picture form. Suppose in the chapter 1, you have given already table informations related with this. Again, in the last chapter, also conclusion chapter, you are again repeating all these things. So try to avoid all these things. You are not supposed to give the informations twice or thrice. Once you have written, you can only put in your mm, footnotes that this has been already discussed in the chapter 1, page number such and such. So a reader can go through the last chapter, in the first chapter, and he can go through it. Remember, accuracy is more important than artistry in the research writing. So you do not make a fool to the examiners or the readers by writing in a very artistic form of your sentences. So in the research writing, what you are writing in a very specific or pinpointed number, it counts. So try to avoid all these things. Do not write in a very artistic form. The sentences must be in a simple manner. It must look like a lucid in expression of the ideas. So ensure that any new term or concept is defined before it is used. In the chapters, when you are writing the new terms, you must give the technical terms definitions in the footnotes. Otherwise, in the running text, also you can put some of the definitions. If it is long, you can put these sentences in the footnotes also. Sometimes we have seen that there is no space of definitions. Then at the last of the dissertation or the thesis, people are giving the definitions of the or glossary of the technical terms also, those which are not clear. In the books, we have seen that generally glossary terms are given at the end of the book. But in the thesis, we have seen in the structure of the thesis that glossary terms or the keywords are defined in a simple sentence within one or two words in the beginning of your introductory chapters. Follow one idea, one paragraph approach to make a proper impact. When you are going to discuss any concept or the ideas or the thought or the any theory, try to summarize it within one single paragraph. Don't make it two, three paragraphs for one concept. Use graphics selectively to enhance the presentation quality. Those who are using the sampling method or the questionnaire method through the tables or the quantitative method, then there is a need of the presentation of the images and the graphics also. So those who are using those sampling method, they are supposed to give a graph or images like it. So written communication is complete when it is read, understood, appreciated, and acted upon. Means when you are writing some of the thoughts or the ideas, new one, or you are defining the new concepts, if it is not being read or understood by the reader, then what you are writing, it is not useful to anyone. So what you are explaining, it must be understood by a person in a very simple manner, in a very lucid manner, which are in a very expressible in simple words also. So divide the matter in subsections and give them suitable captions for clarity. So if there are matters not to be explained within one section, then you can make a subsection so and give them suitable subheadings also. Suppose there are chapters of 1.1, you are explaining any concept, and then if it is not, then you can give 1.1.1. So in that way, you can make subdivisions in explaining the ideas. Writing flow must have a logic progression of ideas. It means that whenever you are submitting your thesis and the thesis is being sent to the examiners, external examiners for evaluation, and there are some of the points which are written to the examiners, external examiners for evaluation. That whether the thesis is being understood by the reader or not, or whether the expression, a style of writing is suitable for the readers or not. So there must be, whenever you are linking the research materials in your chapters, it must be having a flow and they must be linked with one paragraph to another paragraph. Must be a connectivity to all the sub-chapters and the chapters also. So when you are interconnected with all the subsections and the chapters, there must be flow of writing. You might have observed that there are some of the novels or there are some of the books which you try to start and you wish to finish it till the end. So It means that there is a flow of understanding of the ideas from the beginning to the end. And a reader tries to finish the book, then he does another work. So here in research thesis also a writer or an author or researcher must have flow in writing also. And whenever you are writing anything or ideas, it must be associated with logic and reasoning also. We have discussed all this, that Buddhism has all the ideas which are having logic and reasoning also. We have discussed earlier also that Buddha says that do not accept the things by the say of hearsay, by the someone has told you, or teacher you have heard from your teachers or your acharyas or any gurus, or it is coming from the traditions or the custom, you do not accept it. You must investigate it with logic and reasoning. Buddha always in Mahaparinibbana Sutta ask that whatever you are going to observe, and people have asked at the time of Mahaparinibbana that who will be our teacher after your Mahaparinibbana, then Buddha says that our Vinaya Sutta will be your teachers. Whatever it has been preached for 45 years, they will be your teachers. So, and he also asked that whatever you accept it, you try to investigate it whether it is available in Sutta or Vinaya or not. Then try to accept it. And it must be associated with logic and reasoning. So here the flow, whatever you are writing in your thesis, it must have reasoning in expression of the ideas. It must be associated with the logic. So there must be, there are some of the things that you must have flow in expression of the ideas. Ensure proper linkage between the paragraphs, sections, and the chapters, which we have just now discussed that in any chapter there are sections, subsections also. It must be linked through it. Otherwise, the reader does not have interest in going through the following chapters also. Avoid repetitive citing of the same references. Suppose you are writing any book or any text from the sacred text. Suppose you are giving the references from the Mahavagga, and in one page there are five, six references, and you are quoting from the same text also. And then you are writing Mahavagga edited by some editor, and then you are writing the name of the publisher, year of the publication, and the place of the publications. So when you are writing alternatively, then it looks bad also. Otherwise, you can put ibid also. If there are repetitions of the references, you do not put the name of the book or the author again and again. You can give the ibid like that. So this is the you do not repeat the citations of the same references again and again. Again, refer dictionary for correct spelling and check punctuations and the grammar. Dictionaries are the best friend of any researcher or any reader also. They are unfailing friends of a reader. Whenever you are having any confusion or any uh, um, mistakes related with your spelling of the words or the sentences, you can consult your dictionaries. Nowadays, the dictionaries are also available in the Google. You can have the grammary corrections also on the Google. When you are writing, there will be some of the suggestions through the Google also. You can make corrections also. There are very good authors also who are claiming that they are writing the books with the help of the grammatical corrections by the Googles also. And when you are writing sentences, you must adapt any one of the, whether it is American English or British English. There are some of the mistakes if you are going to write. Then suppose color, COLOUR. Then American English will say COLOR. So there are so many suggestions like this. So if you are putting American English, then always follow the American English or British English. If you are following, you can write all the spellings of the sentences or the words that. So anyone you can use it. It is not supposed that you are using both of English at a time. Use thesaurus to improve the writing. Some of the ideas are also expressed through the good words also. So that is why it is supposed that you can use the thesaurus to improve the writing also and their conversation and see how this has been corrected. So if you have written that and their conversation was noted, so it is supposed that you better write and the interactions between them was noted. So this is the suggestions given by our grammarly corrections on the Google also. Use a standard style manuals for citing the references in the text and listing the references in research writing. We'll discuss in our next class or today also, if I find the time, that there are American Psychological Association, APA system of writing the books or MLS system or Chicago Manual of Writing the References. There are three which are accepted by the all the our modern scholars. So any one of the method of writing the references you can adopt it. It is not supposed that in one chapter you are writing APA system, American Psychological Association, or in another chapter you are following the MLS system, and in another chapter you are writing Chicago manual. So it will create some problems also. We'll discuss that how the APA system references are written or Chicago manual or MLS system. So never do copy pasting of the internet downloads. So it is very nowadays, before the submission of the thesis, you have to go through the plagiarism test. There are some softwares like Urkund and other things. You have to go through, you have to put all your chapters on the software, and then you have to find out that how many portions have been taken from the internet. If they are coming more than 7%, then thesis may not be allowed for the submission. So there are some guidelines also. So never do copy pasting of the internet downloads. We have observed in India also that in thesis there are some of the copy paste of the chapters also from another thesis which have been submitted in another universities. But when the theses have been submitted by another university and when it has come under the Urkund or any software of our test, then it will show that from which thesis, which chapter you have taken, or how many passages you have taken from that chapter also. Because once it has gone through that software, it is recorded. And if any passage is taken from any chapters, and any researcher does copy paste of that passages of the chapter, it will show. So never do copy pasting of the internet downloads. It is one of the best guidelines, and it also comes from under the research ethics also. We will discuss about what are the research ethics where we have to put the ethics from the beginning literature review till the submission of your thesis. You have to follow the research ethics also. Then format, write guidelines, how you can going to write your thesis and how will be the format also. Organize the matter accordingly to the prescribed structure. Whatever the university gives the guidelines according to, you have to give the matters. It is different for a thesis, journal article, popular magazine, newspaper, and website. So whenever you are writing for any journal, there are some guidelines from the journal editor itself. For the thesis, there are some other guidelines. And when you are writing for the newspaper or any website, there are some other guidelines. When you are writing for the newspaper, there is no need of any giving the references from the any book or citations. There is no need of giving citations also for the newspaper. And website also does not accept the references. Provide footnote or endnotes in numerical order to facilitate reading and linking to relevant references. So there are some guidelines for giving the references or the citations. There are two ways: footnotes and the endnotes. Endnotes are given at the end of the chapter from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the footnote on the same page also, you have to give references 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you give write down also. So there are some guidelines for the footnotes and the endnotes also. There is another guidelines for giving the references which is called as parenthesis. Parenthesis means in the running thesis, when there is the end of the sentence, you have to put the references itself. It will be very popular also. It is modern in our modern researches because it takes very less time in giving the references, as well as it takes less space also. Like Professor G.C. Pandey, Govind Chandra Pandey, Origins of Buddhism, Motilal Banarsi Das, New Delhi, 1975. This is the reference of the book. You have to put down only Pandey, comma, 1975, then colon, then you give the page number. And you give the detailed information in the bibliography related with that book also. Suppose Govind Chandra Pandey or G.C. Pandey has written more than 5 books or 10 books. But in 1975, only the origins of Buddhism has been written. So when you are writing Pandey, comma, 1975, it means that the book is being referred as origins of Buddhism also. So this is more popular because it takes less space also and less time of expression of the ideas also. So that is why, but footnotes you can give the running passage from the text, like from Bapul Sutras or Mahayana Sutras or Pali literature. If you have passage, you can write in the references also, and you can give the abbreviated form of the text. You do not write down all the details like Mahavagga. So only you can write down MV or Dhammapad DP. So there is a abbreviated form of all the text. So you can make it yourself, or you can take help from the other books also. Put secondary material in the appendix. Secondary materials means which are not directly related with your research topic, but those who are interested to do research further, there is a scope of further studies. You can put those matter in the appendix also, so that the researcher can go mm, through the appendixes, and he can further make researches on or investigations on that point also. So that is the secondary materials related with that. So how you have to put the table? It is a, general an example. For example, I have put in here that how you have to put a style of the table, how you have to write down table number 65, changing the occupation pattern over 1960 to 2001 period in ABCD district. So district name has been given 1 ABCD. So this is the style of that year 1961. How many persons were involved in farming, fishing, mining, industry, finance, services? Like that, you can make here also. And if you are not clear, then you can make a star of that, and you can put in the estimated sources of India documents for various years. So this is the graph